As a pointer.
Okay, this is Louise Molnar going through some old photos, and we're going to be talking about days gone by. So, this is a photo on the screen of her family.
Mom, why don't you point out who your mother is?
This is my mom,
And what's her name?
Harriet Sadusky.
And then why don't you point out all the people in that photo?
Okay, that's my grandfather, it's her father.
What's his name?
I don't really know for sure.
That's okay, let's move on. Who's that?
Her mother,
Remember her name?
no.
Okay.
Is that the same woman that's holding the cat in that
Yeah.
other picture? Okay.
And then who's up to the, okay, who's
I
that?
think that's Uncle Bodesh.
Looks like Uncle Tom Wozniak.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah. He was instrumental with Aunt Mary. I think that must be Aunt
Oh,
Mary.
I bet it is. So she was older than your mother?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then the woman on the very end?
I don't know. I don't know her name. It's
A relative.
Be a sister. Must be her mom's sister.
Gosh, look at your grandfather, that beard. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Looks
And-
like mine.
Yeah. and Grandma looks like Aunt Dell there.
Yeah, yeah, really. And he's handsome, isn't he? And,
yeah.
And she, well, they're attractive.
So Grandma was born in like 1896, and it looks like she's probably about 10 years old in that picture.
Yeah.
So this must be around 1906, 1907 that picture was taken?
Yeah, I bet.
And so
well-
that was in Poland. That picture would have been taken in Poland.
Oh, that's right.
Because
yeah.
Grandma didn't come here until
Until she was
19...
18 years
Yeah.
old. Uh-huh. Yeah, so.
And Uncle Alex was here too. Oh no, that's, who did you say that man is?
Bob.
Bob.
It was, his name was Bob Sadusky.
And did he come to America too?
He's the one, he was here with Aunt Mary.
Okay.
And between the two of them, they brought my mom.
Oh, okay,
Here.
got it.
So they talked your mom into coming?
Yeah, and he went back. Aunt Mary stayed here,
Okay.
and he went back. And look, I was going to talk about Uncle Frank, but that's another
You can
story.
talk about him. That's your dad's brother.
Yeah, my dad's father, and I never met him. He died before I was around, and he went back and forth between America and Poland, and Bob Sadusky went back to Poland and stayed there.
I know that when Grandma was a little girl, you had mentioned that to practice religion, they had to kind of do it underground too, didn't they?
Yeah, they were under the Russian government, and Russia was, they were restricted in what they could do, and
Goddamn Russians.
Still causing trouble today.
Yes, they are.
so
So Grandma was from Białystok?
Białystok.
Yeah, and I read that's about 40 miles from the Russian border.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't really know. Actually, they didn't talk a whole lot about. Well, I remember my mom was kind of a tomboy,
Yeah.
and she climbed the apple tree and fall out of it, and she was the youngest one.
Must be, you kind of take after her, I think.
Yeah, probably.
So,
I just don't know.
don't know.
They
Do you know if
didn't
she had a job before she left Poland? Was she working anywhere or anything?
I know Aunt Mary was working in a factory, and I think she fell and hurt herself some way. And she wanted to, when she came to America, she wanted to be a nun, but she didn't pass the physical.
Really?
Oh, no, so she married the guy who got naked in a tree.
Oh my goodness, yeah. But we used to have so much fun. But you remember how she used to get you guys together? She used to make flowers, artificial flowers, you know. And I don't know, I think you guys used to go out on a picnic table. Do you remember that?
Yep, we used to make silk flowers. She'd wrap them with wire, and you'd wrap the wire with green crepe
I
paper.
remember that.
And have little silk petals and things.
I also remember the story when she laid down in a bunch of
Poison ivy.
poison ivy. Remember
On the
up
beach at Lake Michigan, yeah.
And she was, poor thing, she believed in the sun. And she would, made herself a sunsuit, probably down to her knees, and so that her back was, so she could get the full advantage of the sun. And, she was laying in a bed of poison ivy.
Oh my gosh.
And, it was really quite awful. And she was afraid to go back to, she was living in a
Boarding house?
She was already old.
Assisted living kind of place?
Yes. And she was afraid to go back because she was afraid that they wouldn't let her
Back
in.
in.
She was quite a bit older than your mom,
Yeah,
than her sister.
yes.
In that picture, I would guess that she's at least 10 years older than,
It looks
more
like
than
it.
that even. It almost looks
yeah,
like she's in
yeah.
her early 20s in that picture, and your mom is like 10, so.
But, she would come and visit us, and she always bring us a trinket, like from the dime store. We looked so forward to her coming, and she'd take us to, I remember we went to a park, that park near, on the south side, Rum Village. Rum Village. And I was mad at her for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why I was mad at her, but I wouldn't talk to her. It was kind of,
And your sisters, were you all close with Aunt Mary?
yes.
Aunt Dell and Aunt Jane and Aunt Rose?
Yes, we were. Yes, I mean she was something to look forward to, and
Those people were pretty brave coming all the way over here and not knowing anybody and can't speak English and
absolutely. Well, my mother, when she came, she worked for an Irish family. First, I guess she was in a factory, but she
She
had
didn't like
to work
that.
on the weekends, and she didn't like that. So she worked as a housekeeper for the Irish family, and the story wasn't. I just realized what you told me. I didn't know. I knew they did call her by. She couldn't explain what her name was. So what's the story on
They
that?
called her
They call her Agnes.
Agnes.
They started with the alphabet, and she
Went through
was.
the names and they,
So she stopped at the first. They
yeah.
called her Agnes.
She didn't like to mess around.
Yeah, so she, and then she came to Chicago, the south side of Chicago, and Chicago is known to have the largest Polish population next to Poland.
yeah.
So it was really,
She never went home again, did she? Or back to Poland?
well, not until
Not to
my
live,
dad died,
right.
and my brothers Tom and Leo paid her fare, transportation, and she had a great time. But she said, she was unhappy when she first got here. She missed her mother, and she never saw her mother again.
Oh, look at this. Who's this, Mom?
Guess.
Aunt Rose and Uncle Paul?
Yeah.
Look how beautiful Aunt Rose is.
That was in my, that was on Washington Street, when we lived in the little house.
So,
Do you remember that little house?
I do.
Yeah, so,
were they married then, or were they
No.
just boyfriend and girlfriend at that point?
yeah.
And how old do you suppose Aunt Rose is there?
Well, she's probably very young.
In her 20s?
Yeah, probably in her 20s. So, and Paul was a Marine.
Look at how skinny she is.
I know. Trim.
Well, she,
I mean, delicate and beautiful.
very small bone. Yeah, she. As a matter of fact,
Lisa's kind of like that, isn't
Yeah.
she?
yeah.
And Diane, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Diane. Yeah, I think Diane even more so
Yeah.
is very feminine.
I think Diane looks a lot like her mom.
She does. She does look a lot like her mom. And that hair is all natural, you know, and all
Curly,
natural
yeah.
Beautiful.
curl, and but she was on the Queen's Court football, Central High School, and they had a big celebration after
Homecoming
season
time?
was over, and she was one on the Queen's Court, and they sat in a convertible, you know, on the top, but they had the top down. And
She must have been popular, huh, Aunt
yeah,
Rose?
Yeah, she was.
And she belonged to some kind of club too, didn't she?
Yes, to the Handy Andy Club, which they didn't take. I didn't know that you had to be sponsored.
Oh.
So I'd go down to the class and I'd talk to the teacher. I was never sponsored. And she finally had to
Tell you?
me, you know, there's no use coming down.
Oh, look here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So who are those people?
Oh, Aunt Dell.
And on the bottom is Aunt Dell?
Aunt Dell. Look at our hair. That's Aunt Rose. This is Aunt Harriet. That's me. And that's Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Look how little my mom is.
But she's sitting down.
Yeah. Joe, you're being funny.
How old is Grandma in that picture, do you think?
Well, let's see. What house is that?
Can't tell whose house it is, but look at you. You look like you're probably in your, what, late 30s? Maybe? Look, and Aunt Dell looks quite young there.
Yeah, yeah.
I like her hairdo. Dell.
She's always very stylish.
I don't know whether that's, it has to be all her hair.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, and
So what do you think? Do you think Grandma's 70 in that picture, or in her late 60s?
I'd say late 60s.
probably, she was young looking and she was interested in dressing and looking nice and and poor thing had big feet.
Did she? How big were her feet?
Huh?
How big, what size feet did Grandma have?
Well, she had bunions, and you know, she had varicose veins, and she had bunions, and it was such a blessing when the hose came out, stockings came out, that you know, she held I mean, the back of her leg, you know, came to a point almost.
Really?
You know, the blood vessels that.
Yeah.
I also know that she was very happy when women started wearing pants.